This is a Channel Africa podcast. You can also get Channel Africa on satellite, PAS10, DSTV Audio Bouquet 802, and OpenView Bouquet, Channel 628.
Now, Kenyan activists called for protesters to take to the streets again today, with many rejecting appeals from President William Ruto for dialogue. This follows his decision to withdraw the proposed tax hikes. The protests, which have been led by young people and organized largely on social media under the hashtag Ruto Must Go, were initially sparked by a finance bill intended to raise 346 billion Kenyan shillings. That equates to $2.69 billion in taxes. At least 24 people were killed in the clashes between the protesters and the police last week, when Parliament was briefly stormed and set ablaze. For more on this, we're joined this afternoon by Mutemi wa Kiama, the co-chair of Africans Rising Coordinating Collective. Now, Africans Rising, together with 400 civil society organizations as well as movements across the continent and the diaspora, you've raised concerns about the conduct of the Kenyan government during the tax bill protest. What have you found to be of concern to you?
The statement by Africans Rising mainly is in solidarity with Kenyans, the young people, Gen Z, and millennials, and other experts who are exercising their constitutional right to protest. Kenyans feel they've not been involved. There's been no public participation in making decisions around taxation for the last few years. And the cost of living has gone to extremities where most people cannot afford basic things. And Africans Rising is a movement of movements, and in solidarity with movements across Africa, but also with Kenyans who are exercising their democratic right as per their constitution. Africans Rising issued the statement in solidarity and mobilized. There were 400 signatures from individuals, activists, ordinary people, and organizations.
And what do you hope to achieve by the petitions and the signatures that you have garnered?
So Africans Rising has been leading campaigns around African unity, Pan-African solidarity, borderless Africa, and saying anything that happens to one African anywhere on the continent or in the diaspora happens to all of us. And this is from that perspective that we are in solidarity with Kenyans or any African, wherever they are, whenever they are facing injustices, because we say any injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And we hope that President William Ruto and his government will realize that Africans are watching, because he's been pretending to be a Pan-African. He started wearing counter suits, and he's been, flying all over Africa, pretending to be this person who will be the one who revived the Pan-African dream. But now Africans can see him for who he is. And the solidarity is that Kenyans who are protesting, who are exercising their democratic right, can realize that they are not alone, that other Africans stand with them.
You've mentioned as well in your statement that Kenyans are not feeling safe even days after the protests. What has led to this? Have there been reports of either threats from the government, reports of acts of abuse, intimidation?
There's been intimidation. There have been abductions. People have been abducted by police at wee hours of the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. There's been, I know one case of where a person was abducted and disappeared for 24 hours. And then when he came, he was found drugged. I know another case of a similar person who was abducted. And then when he was found, there are reports of sodomy, that he was sodomized or in police custody. People have, there are others who have disappeared for a whole week. They've never been seen. We don't know where they are. We don't know where they're being held. And even the Kenyan judiciary has issued statements talking about the right to due process. The president himself, two days ago, did an interview on live TV, whereby he talked about upholding the rule of law and due process. Yet, what is happening, the reality on the ground is totally different. Right now, people are in the streets protesting, but they are being tear gassed, they are being shot with live bullets. This is what we say should not be happening in the 21st century Africa.
Some have called for President Ruto to step down. Will a change in government, do you believe, resolve the challenges that Kenyans are currently facing?
I would say a change is as good as a rest. I think it's time that Kenya exercises their democratic right to elect any other leaders apart from the ones who are in power right now. Not just Ruto, not just the president, but Parliament, Senate. We have leaders who are elected and they don't represent the people. And that's why the people are in the streets. But long term, we need a total overhaul of the governance system, including the civil service, because that's where the problem is. That's where this colonial attitude, 60 years, 6 decades after Kenya gained or purportedly gained independence, our independence government is behaving worse than the colonial government that Kenyans, the Mau Mau, went to fight.
There are others who are saying they are open to dialogue, so not open to dialogue rather, but saying that they want action from William Ruto. What, from your perspective, are the options that the president has at the moment? How can he once again reinstate the sense of security in his country?
The first thing he needs to do is withdraw the security forces that are brutalizing people, including, or the army has behaved so far, but he should return the army to the barracks, because all these protesters have been very peaceful until they were infiltrated by mobs hired by politicians. So he needs to keep his word. And that will just buy him time, because I don't think Kenyans are ever going to trust him again. But we need a government in place. So I think what he should do right now is fire his entire cabinet and appoint a government of national unity that will oversee a transition to peaceful elections.
So you see that as literally the only way forward right now for him?
He had literal legitimacy. That literal legitimacy has been lost in the last 2 weeks.
Mutemi wa Kiama, we thank you very much for your insight and your time